Section 10 of Chapter 4, we are to the end of Chapter 4. We're going to make it. Hang in there. Of course, that means there's a test coming up, but that's okay. You can do this. And this chapter is full of fun stuff. I love this because mostly it's just manipulating numbers. It's like a big puzzle game. Here we go. We're going to write quadratic functions. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to take parts and pieces and we're going to write functions using those parts and pieces. Now, the part that you need to know already, that you probably already know, and if you don't, you need to commit these to memory. You need to know the vertex form, the intercept form, and the standard form of these quadratic equations. So if you don't know these three, or at least are very, very familiar and can recognize them easily, you need to know these. You need to write these down in your notes. You need to memorize these three forms and recognize how they're used and where they are and the parts and pieces of them. Okay? So you need to know HK is your vertex. You need to know P and Q are your intercepts. You need to know how to use them and what to do. All right? Here we go. This is not a joke. If you don't know it already, you need to take some time and you need to learn it. Okay, so what we're going to do today, three different types of problems. First, if you're given a vertex and 1 point on a parabola, you need to write just an equation that represents that parabola. Now, I may give you the picture of the parabola like this. I might just give you, instead of giving you the picture of it, I might just say the vertex is -2, 3, and there again, you can pull this from the graph, and the point is -4, -1. So it might just look like this, and just have that information. It might have the graph, and you'll have to pull that from the graph, and you can easily see, oh, -2, 3, it's marked on your graph. There we go, that's the vertex, and this is just a point on it. So then if you're given that information, you can know, oh, well, I know the vertex, so I'm going to use the vertex form of a quadratic function. So you start out with that form, y equals a times x minus h, quantity squared, plus k. All right, so start out with that. That's your skeleton. Now we're going to work with it and put pieces in. We know already the vertex, so put that in. Y equals a times x minus a -2 would be plus 2 squared plus 3. So far, so good. All we need is a, right? You can find that because you have one other point. So what you're going to do is once you get this is your starting point. Now you have to find a. You're going to do that by plugging in this point in for your x and y. So y is -1 equals a times -4 plus 2, quantity squared, plus 3. So did you see I just brought everything down and I put the x in for x and the y in for y. And now it's just a mathematical equation that you solve for a. So -4 plus 2 is -2, squared is 2, no, yes, negative is 4. Ha. 4a plus 3 equals -1. Subtract 3 from both sides is a -4 equals 4a. Divide by 4. So a is -1. So now you have everything you need to write the equation. So you have your intercept or your vertex. You have your vertex and you have a. So now you simply put it into the original form. Y equals -1. You can just put negative. You don't have to put the 1. I would rather you didn't, please. Negative x plus 2 squared plus 3. And you're finished. All right? Now, you're going to do one of those on your own in just a minute. I'm going to show you this type, and then I want you to pause and do one of each type. All right, so here we go. What if you're given the intercepts? Well, if you're given the intercepts, then it would make sense that you would want to use the intercept form. So it's going to be the same type of problem, except you've got to know which form to start with. So in this case, we're going to start with the intercept form. Y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. And we know that our intercepts are -4 and 0. So we'll just plug those in. Y equals a times x minus a negative would be plus 4 times x minus nothing is just x. All right. So now And we can simplify that actually and say y equals ax times x plus 4, because that'll simplify this a little bit. We're going to put in x and y. Oh, look, a decimal. Here we go. We can do it. Y is negative 4.5, and that's going to equal a is what we want, times negative 3 times negative 3 plus 4. Negative 3 plus 4, ooh, that's just a 1. That's kind of fun. So 1 times negative 3. So now we have negative 4.5 equals, what did I just say? 1 times negative 3. Negative 3a. So to solve for a, you're just going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. Negative divided by a negative becomes a positive. 4/5 divided by 3 is 1.5. So now we have a, and we have intercepts. So we can draw on our hand with our marker. So we can put that into our intercept form. So y equals 1.5 is our a times x plus 4 and times x. And then actually, to make that look nicer, put it back into this one. So y equals 1.5x x plus 4. And that is your standard form. All right. I want you to turn in your book. I believe it's page 310. And yes, page 310. And do guided practices numbers 1 and 3. Number 1 is going to be just like this. Number 3 is going to be just like this. And this time when you come back, I'm not going to work it out. I'm just going to give you the answer. So make sure that you pause it and work it out, and then come back and I'll give you just the answer. And if you didn't get it, then you need to go back and you need to figure out, ooh, what part do I not understand? All right? So pause and come back. And I'm erasing to give you a little bit more time to say, oh, she was serious. She really wanted me to do this. Yes, I really did. Okay, so once it's all the way finished, you should end up with, on number 1, you should have gotten y equals x minus 4 quantity squared minus 5. Did you get it? I hope so. Yes. And number 2, you should have gotten y equals 1/4 times x plus 2 times x minus 5. And some of you may have the 1/4. Some of you may have 0.25. Either one is fine. All right. So the fraction or the decimal, either way is fine. So hopefully you got those. If not, go back and see what you did wrong and how to get her figured out before you go to this one, because this next type is a little bit more time consuming. What we're going to do is we want an equation written in standard form, and I'm going to give you 3 points on the parabola. All right, here we go. So 3 points on the parabola, and we want standard form. So what we can do is this. Let's start out by, we know this is standard form, and we have some x's and we have some y's. So we'll start out by using just 1 point and putting that point in for x and y. So y is 30. So let's say 30 equals a times x squared, as x is negative 2, plus b times negative 2 plus c. All right, so simplify that a little bit. 30 equals 2 squared is 4a minus 2b plus c. All right, then use the second point on your parabola and do the same thing. Y is 6, so 6 equals a times your x squared plus b times your x plus c. You see where I'm going? And now simplify that. So now 6 equals a plus b plus c. Now let's make a third equation by using the third point. So 36 now equals a times that x squared is 4, plus b times that x, which is 4, plus c. Simplifying that, we get 36 equals 16a plus 4b plus c. Now, you're going to love this. This is so fun. Do you remember when we simplified, when we solved systems of 3 equations? Ha ha ha. That's exactly what we're going to do now. So now we have 3 equations with 3 unknowns, and we can simplify those. We can put them together. So in these, this is really easy because we've got c's in all of them. So let's combine these two and say 30 equals 4a minus 2b plus c. Let's keep that one, and let's subtract this one. So minus 6 equals negative a minus b minus c. When we combine those, we get 24 equals 3a minus 3b, and the c's cancel out. Yay! We wanted them to cancel out. Then, let's combine these two. We'll start with the 36 equals 16a plus 4b plus c. And we need to subtract again. So minus 6 equals negative a minus b minus c. When we combine those, we get 30 equals 15a plus 3b. And the c's cancel out. So now we're down to just 2 equations with 2 unknowns. We just have an a and a b. Oh, and looky here. You've got a negative 3 and a positive 3. Let's just pull this over. 30 equals 15a plus 3b. Because when we combine those, the 3b's cancel. Are you remembering doing this before? So now we have 54 equals 18a. Divide by 18. And is that 3? I believe it is. So a equals 3. Ha-ha! Ta-da! We're almost there. Because once we get 1, we can go back to one of these original equations here, and I think let's use this one just because the numbers are a little bit smaller. So we've got 24, and now I'm standing right in front of it. 24 equals 3 times 3 is 9 minus 3b. Subtract 9. So what is that? For 24, 14, 13, 14, 15. Equals negative 3b. Divide by negative 3. And so b equals negative 5. And now I've totally run out of room, so I'm going to come up to here and say I've got 3 for a, negative 5 for b. So let's put that in for here. For 6 equals a is 3, b is negative 5, plus c. And so 3 and negative 5 is negative 2. Add 2 to both sides. 8 equals c. So my final answer is 3, negative 5, 8. And that is my final answer. Whew. So if you have 3 points, what you're going to do is you're going to put each of those 3 points into the standard form for the x and the y, and you'll end up with 3 equations with 3 unknowns, and then you just solve the way we would solve for 3 equations with 3 unknowns, solve that system of equations, which you can do. So it's a lot. There's not very many problems assigned, and this video is very short. So go and do another one just to be sure. Maybe start your assignment and do one of each type while it's fresh in your mind just to be sure. Can I do this? Ah, yes, I can. All right, you can do this. So easy. It's great fun, and I'll see you soon.